What's up, guys? EFC91 has ended. I know it's a little bit late, been a bit busy, but here we are. I just wanted to give my thoughts and ideas and some of the things I liked from EFC91. Obviously, off the bat, it was a bit of a strange start time, 12 o'clock, still getting the wimpy out of your teeth at that time, but it was cool to have fights going through the whole day. Interesting fight card, obviously some troubles on the scales. I did kind of give my piece on that. Yeah, it's a problem in the EFC. It's not the EFC's problem, it's an athlete problem, it's a sanctioning body problem. They've allowed this kind of, I want to say, weigh-in ethos in the EFC, where guys aren't too perturbed about showing up overweight. It's quite nonchalant, it's very unprofessional, but in this instance, both guys who had problems at the scales didn't prevail. It obviously has an effect if you're not cutting weight properly on how you perform. I think if you're a bookmaker or you're betting, whenever there's been a problem on the scale, your bets are going to go against the guy who had problems. So it is a bit of a problem. Hopefully it's something we see less of in 2022. Guys missing weight or having problems at the scale. I really do hope that it's at some point the fighters on the roster start to take the weigh-ins a little bit more seriously. Don't agree to fights if you're worried about making it weight, rather go up a weight division, those kind of things. Or the other option is seek out guys that can help you. Rory Diesel, Scotty McIntosh, Joshua Capozario. There's many guys out there. Speak to guys that have been doing it for a long time, how they cut weight, carbohydrate intake, sodium intake, what, the list goes on. I'm not a professional, but I do try and pay attention to how these things are done, and hopefully we see less of it. But anyway, obviously the big talking points were the submissions. I think the one flew from Pisa Kupani, which was another super slick submission, which put Petey Coxon out cold. He did try and tap, but it was obviously on very tight and he was asleep really quick. Cole Henning breaking an EFC record with a 5-second knockout. What can we say about it? I mean, it was an insane performance. He just came straight forward, got the job done, and that was it. Massive statement from Cole Henning coming off of a very tight split decision loss against August Kaimbala. He is a guy we're talking about seeing in the lightweight picture. Everyone's excited about what next. Obviously, Cole is a guy who spent 4 years on the sidelines and has just re-emerged with this massive star power in the EFC. And a performance like that, in my mind, just kind of skyrockets him to wherever he wants to be. He's one of those guys, in fact, that the title doesn't even really matter. We want to see him in good fights and fun fights. Wesley Hawkey was one that came out. I know he's been looking for a fight with Boyd Allen. I'd love to see that if that's what Boyd wants to do. There's a lot of fun possibilities. I know he was supposed to face Malboer Steyn, which is an exciting fight at lightweight. Malboer coming down to lightweight. There were a few other options we had played with. But yeah, be exciting to see how exactly they deal with Cole Henning and where he goes from here. Those performances just to remind you of what he's capable of. Obviously, Jose De Rocha had a decent performance. I do feel like he had opportunities to put Kaleka Kabanda away. Maybe being a little bit hesitant or risk-free. We're starting to talk about him in the welterweight picture, which will be interesting. He is definitely if we could say, a perennial contender. He's always there and thereabout. So nothing wrong with seeing him contend for a title. And the co-main event, which was really good, August Kaimbala versus Ronaldo Exon. Ronaldo Exon, I think we've spoken about his jiu-jitsu before, and the guys feel like it's not, it's just jiu-jitsu at the end of the day, but his submissions are really slick, man. He's so sharp on the ground. Not even on the ground, it's just the submission opportunities. He makes people pay the price. I'm glad he got the job done. Unfortunately, it wasn't really a title fight because of August's troubles on the scale. but I feel like the right man prevailed. I think August did give him a bit of a hard time in the first round. Perhaps it was gas from a rough weight cut, or perhaps he just succumbed to the better man. But yeah, it's going to be interesting to see again what they do with August. Where does he go from here? And the same with Ronaldo X. And there was talks of him having a rematch with Iga Cabeza, which I guess in the landscape of the EFC. Sorry, there's a bit of a storm happening here in Joburg. In the landscape of the EFC, why not? I'm not a big fan of guys getting rematches like that after being stopped so decisively, if we can put it that way. But I mean, it is Iga Cabeza, and that is the landscape. I wouldn't mind seeing that fight go a bit longer just to see what that match can potentially bring out. If Iga can keep the fight going a bit longer, see how that ends. So yeah, let's see what they do in 2022. And obviously the big talking point, the main event, Lutando Biko is champion again, taking the belt back to Heroes Welcome. I feel like Lutando's stand-up has gotten so much better in the way, and this was one of the talking points I had leading up to it, the way he handles space and covers distance is really, really good. I felt like in that closing exchange, Zulu Boy threw a pretty naked, pretty lazy leg kick, almost like a check. It was almost like a distance check, and as he pulled back, it was like super lazy, and he paid the price. I think Lutando and his coach have been working on that, Chris Bright. I think they something that they saw, that he threw those kicks quite lazy at times, and the way he reset himself was pretty lazy with his, I think it was his left hand down, if I remember correctly, just like a lapse in concentration. And it seemed like the second Zulu tasted that power, he didn't really want to be in there. He kind of like just dropped, and yeah, it was a little bit strange, if I'm honest, for me personally. But yeah, massive props to Team Pespa and to Lutando Biko. Just off the top of my mind, obviously Bradley Swanepoel had a really good performance. That's his second or third in a row, really, really good showings. Gift Walker had I want to say 24-hour opponent change, because there was, I think, 3 guys that tested positive, and another dude had been mugged and stabbed in the hand on the way in, or the day before. So there was a lot of changes on the day, but yeah, a good card all in all, a bit of everything for everybody. We got to see some young contenders prove themselves a little bit more. New champions keeping their belt, and a lot of good questions for 2022. Hopefully the EFC can clear the space and figure out what they need to figure out, and we see a good 2022. I will, as we get closer to the time, obviously it's a long break now up until like March or whatever it is, we will start building up fights that we want to see. I've got a Christmas watch list of fights that I want to put out, so stay tuned, and have a good weekend. Christmas is around the corner. I hope you're all being safe, and we'll chat to you soon. Peace.